Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Hello, Amandeep. Hello, Brittany. Hi, Brittany. How are you doing? Hello, Brittany. Hi, Diana. Hi, Habib. Hamado. Hi, Jawad. Hello, Jennifer. Hi, Josh. Junaid, Karthik Rajmohan, Ken, Mac, Narendra, RS, Sid, Soumya, Vinay. How are you guys doing today?
Well, and yourself. This is Brittany.
I'm doing very good, very good. Brittany, did you
Doing good.
catch up the first two sessions?
Yes, I did. Thank you so much for sending that over.
Very good. Thank you. I'm glad you made it here. So, guys, how was the first two sessions for the new guys? How are you guys feeling so far? Anybody here for the first two sessions who
Pretty
attended?
good.
And
Yeah.
how's it going? Vinay, how about you?
Yeah, it was pretty good, Sudesh. Looking
Very
forward to
good. Very
the
good.
sessions.
Very good. And I just want to share some news. We're waiting for Gurpreet. She had a system update. So we're waiting for her to restart our system and join over here. And just want to give you a heads up while we wait here. We have the November batch folks have completed their training. They're going through intensive interview preparation right now. Usually they go for two mock interviews plus additional mock interviews with the trainers, and they successfully completed the certified system administrator certification. And now we are having a workshop for them this Sunday. We conduct two workshops after the training. We conduct two workshops every month where we're talking about different use cases of the projects. When you're going into project as a business analyst, you need to know what to do, right? So different scenarios of projects in ServiceNow, in support, implementation, we bring up those use cases in our workshops, and that's out of your training. It's after the training, and we're helping the people understand while they're waiting for the interview. Guess how it can help the folks? Any idea? When we go through this workshop, how do you think it's helping the people? Any suggestions? Well, let me tell you, one of the biggest challenge I see that is when people finish their training, most of them are not able to relate to the project. That is the biggest challenge I've seen. To solve this problem, what we have done is we are doing workshops where people go through different case studies, and not only that, with the resume, we are also giving you different case studies for you to talk in the interviews. All right. And so when you understand your case studies from a BA point of view, different scenario, it helps you to have those great conversations in the interviews. Okay. In an interview, they will simply ask you, tell me about yourself. What is your experience in ServiceNow? What kind of projects have you done? Right? This sounds very basic questions, right? Jawad, Jennifer, Henry, Josh, Junaid, what do you guys think? Sounds like a basic question, right? But these questions will give you, are the very first few questions will where you really have to start explaining your experience in ServiceNow, what kind of projects you have done, and all of those good stuff. But the good part about these interviews is nobody can know everything in ServiceNow. There are so much going on, different modules are going on. You only know what has happened in your project, the projects which are giving you. So we give you a deep understanding of the different use cases, which is going to go into your resume. Okay. So for your resume, you need to have a good understanding on your resume. You need to have a good understanding on the projects you have in your resume. Plus, each of these interviews will have 90% concept based questions, 90% ServiceNow, 10% BA. All right. So this training is designed in the same way and to help you prepare for the interview. In today's job market, ServiceNow consultants are high demand, and there is a certain knowledge area is required for you to learn. So in the first phase, we're going to teach you business analyst, and then once you finish that, phase two, we're going to take you into ServiceNow. You'll start learning the ServiceNow administrator tool. Why are we talking about admin tool? Because anybody, no matter is a PM or it's a business analyst, or it is a yeah, developer, anywhere, anybody who is jumping into this career, they need to have their foundation knowledge of administrator tool and IT service management. Okay, so we're going to start there. Then we go into IT business management, and we also teach you HRSD module where most of the jobs are coming in. So all the critical things which you need to learn in the job will be delivered by Gurpreet for you, and she's going to take you through slowly. But I really want you guys to ask questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand emoji so that she can stop and answer your questions, and also allow her to complete. Okay, do not interrupt her while she's speaking, because that will disconnect her train of thoughts. All right, you guys have been a great crowd, and I'm glad you're here, and we are very excited to serve you. Okay, hi Gurpreet.
Hi, Sudesh. Hello, everyone. I'm
Hi
really
Gurpreet.
sorry for
It's
being
okay.
little
It's okay.
late. I ran into some
It's all
problem with
right.
my laptop, but fixed it
It's all right.
eventually.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Well, I was just going through giving them understanding of what next and what to do and stuff like that. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
Gurpreet, I'll make you the host, and you
Mm-hmm.
can take over from here.
Sure.
So you're the host
Thank
now.
you. Okay,
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
Let me share. Okay, let me try sharing my screen. I'm unable to do that, Sudesh. It says sharing is not turned on.
Hang on 1 second. Let me check my host.
Yeah,
Oh, I gave the host to Amandeep. Sorry about that.
no worries.
I ended up giving to Amandeep. Okay, here you go.
Okay,
You're in.
now I'm the host. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello, everyone. Very good evening for all of you.
Good evening, JP.
Yes. I hope I'm audible to everyone, right?
Yes, good, good.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So in our last class, we have covered everything about what is business analysis, who is a BA, the skills required, the competencies they should have, right? And so, what the day in the life of a BA looks like. And I promise that we will start with an end-to-end demo first in order to understand, the analytical skills, the communication skills, how they all fit in a real-time scenario. So we will have a very realistic intermediate level of demo because since it's the beginning of the course, I don't want to make it very complex or complicated, right? Um, Now, for the next 60 minutes, imagine that you are not students, you are the business analyst in a real company, right? So, who here thinks that BA work is mostly documentation or it is mostly meetings? Can I have a raise of hands, please? For people who are already in tech background or who are already business analyst. How many of you think that BA work is mostly about documenting things and just attending the meetings?
Can I respond? This is Rania.
Yeah, hi Rania, sure.
Hi. Well, in my pursuit of becoming a business analyst, I do believe that a lot of it is documenting because you're documenting a lot of the requirements. You're getting a lot of information from the clients, from the
Mhm.
stakeholders, in order for you to pursue accomplishing the project. So, yeah, it's a lot of documenting.
That's right. So, while the major part of BS duties includes documenting and attending meetings, today you will see that how thinking, asking, documenting, and collaborating with all the other team members and even with the client all come together in the picture of a complete BA, right? So, we are going to cover end-to-end demo, and after that, we will go through the project lifecycle. We will also understand software development lifecycle and the models it offers, right? And what is waterfall and what is agile. We will compare both. And then because agile is being used 90% by the IT companies, we will dig deeper into it, like know about the agile methodology, agile manifesto, and the 12 principles it offers, because this is very important. So we are going to emphasize a little more on into this part. There are different types of agile, and we do mainly Scrum framework. Again, widely adopted by the IT companies. That's why. What are the roles within it? There are what are the features and the ceremonies, right? So that will be for today. Since I already said that, okay, let's begin with our end-to-end demo. Now, I was asking that, okay, who thinks BA work is mostly documentation and mostly meetings, right? So you're correct, Rania. It is mostly about documenting and attending meeting. But apart from
Yes.
that, we also think, we ask, and we collaborate with other team members. So now I'm presenting you a problem. This is the business problem. New employees are joining, but laptops are not ready on day one, right? So now what is happening due to this? Let me open Excel sidewise to better demonstrate. Okay. So now imagine, I hope my Excel part is also available for all of you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the business problem is, let me know if I need to zoom in a bit, right? The
Can you
business
zoom in a
problem
little
is,
bit, please?
yeah. Is it better
Little
now?
bit bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. So new employees are joining. This is the business problem, right? And but the laptops are not ready on the day one of the onboarding. Now, suppose after you complete your training, you appear for interview, you clear it, you are a ServiceNow BA now. You go there on the very first day one of your onboarding. There is some onboarding process you undergo, and once you've completed it, even after that, you are not given laptop. And at the same time, you have been told that okay, your project is going to start soon. How would you feel about that? You would be feeling that okay, this is very misaligned, I'm not able to catch up on the timeline. So now what it will happen, there will be productivity loss, right? What will be the consequences of this? And it will lead to frustrated employees. Suppose five new people join in your company, frustrated employees. So these will be the outcomes. And then HR and IT team, which you will never get to know, but within the team, they will start blaming each other that, this has been delayed from your end or this has been delayed from my end. Now, is this a technical problem or a business problem? If anybody
Business
can,
Business.
problem.
business, perfect, exactly. So this is a business problem. This is not a technical problem. Right. So now if we think about the first skills of a BA that we read, that we went through in our last session, those are analytical skills, right? So how do we
Mm-hmm.
leverage it? So this comes under problem solving, and it covers problem solving skills and root cause analysis, which we call as RCA, right? So now if I have to go to the root of the problem, I should be asking the why questions out loud, that why this problem is happening, right? So anybody who can considering the business problem, if can tell me what would be my first question as a BA if I'm getting to the root cause or doing the problem solving. It has to be the why, right? So now consider
Yeah,
this
why?
situation. Yeah, anybody can tell me the first question.
Um, Maybe the first question would be what, since we know of the problem, what can we do to come up with a solution to fix this problem?
Right. So we can say what we can do to come up with solution. Okay, that's first. What could be
Mm-hmm.
other question? Anybody else?
Just the basics. Why did this happen? The first hand.
Exactly. So the why is very important. Why did this happen? Now, what happened exactly? Why are laptops getting delayed? Right? So the business problem says that employees and laptops are not ready on day one for the new employee. So why are laptops getting delayed? The why is very important because we're trying to get to the root cause now, right? And what can we do, right? So other could be that if we can do something, now we have found the solution. We understand why the laptops are getting delayed. We get to know that, okay, what we can do to come up with the solution. Now the question is, okay, we can raise a request, right? Raise a request for getting a laptop or any assigning a laptop. So how that request will be raised? How is the request raised today? Like what is the process, current process? So we will focus on understanding the current process of client, that how you're doing it today, right? And who approves it? Because we need to get to the root cause, right? Whether it's HR or IT, who approves it, and where exactly it is getting stuck. Where does it get stuck? So these are the kind of questions which covers your analytical skills. Now think about this. If do you think if you are able to get answer to these four questions, you will be able to get to the root cause? Why laptops are getting delayed? How is the request raised? Who approves it? Where does it get stuck? Right? And what can we do to come up with solution? Now you think it covers what, where, how, who, and when, right? So this is all about problem solving and root cause analysis. This is something which is which might seem like that, okay, this is very simple, the what, how, why, when. But when you are in that particular situation and you have to check with the client that, okay, these are the things that I'm going to need from you in order to analyze the problem and come up with a fix. So this is how you cover your first skill. Now let me draw a simple flow. So there is HR team, right? Uh, they are getting now the client is telling you the current process. They say the HR team receives an email, right? Uh, or sends an email. It goes to the inbox of the IT team, right? Now from there, a manager gives an approval, right? So the manager gives approval and then IT team fulfills it. Fulfills as in they work on it, right? Once the manager approves. So now I'm in a company where HR gets to know that, okay, she informs the IT team via email that this new employee has joined and I'm going to need a new laptop for him or her. They have a manager approval, right? So a manager reviews the request, they approve it, and then it is given to IT team to assign you the laptop, because there are some technical specifications behind allocating a laptop. They will evaluate what kind of work you are into, what kind of RAM or processor, up to which level you're going to need, because obviously if you're a coder, you're going to need some different specification. If you're into functional role, the specifications of your PC would be different, right? And so that's how the current process looks like. Now I will show you, so the root cause analysis, right? Now this, look at this table, and you see, the issue is laptop getting delayed. What is the root cause behind it? The manual email based request. As it told us, as they told us into the process, that HR sends an email and this is how it goes. So now we can understand that, okay, laptop is getting delayed. This is issue number one. That is why, because there is a manual email based request, there is no automation, right? And second is there is no visibility. So, once it has been assigned to the IT team over here, now it goes to the IT inbox. At what time do they actually send it for manager approval? And when did the manager approve? When did the IT team fulfill it? And when did exactly the HR send the email in the first place? There is no visibility into this process, right? Like you can actually go to email of that person and check, but there is nothing that you can track on a single place. Like you as a employee, you can't see the tracking process. Yes, Habib, I see your hand raised.
Hi, Gurpreet. What
Hi, Habib.
exactly you mean here by manual? What exactly means manual here, please?
Yeah. So when we use ServiceNow platform, everything is automated. For example, once you're new hired, a notification will be sent by default to your HR team, and there is a predefined workflow. Predefined as in it has been already designed, and based on the trigger, based on the condition that this new employee has been hired, the workflow will work in the backend. Like a notification from HR will be sent by default to the IT team, and IT team will by default assign a dedicated manager for the approval process, And then there are SLAs attached to each of them. Like they all are given 24 hours or maybe 2 days to complete their task. So everything is being tracked. And you, as an employee, you're given a request number. You can see actually where the process is moving from one point to another. So there is a visibility for you. You are keeping a track of things, right? And it's like it goes for everybody who is involved in the process, whether it's the HR, whether it's the IT team, right? Everybody is able to see that or track that, okay, to whom the request is assigned right now and for how much time. So that is the difference between the automated process and the manual email based request. That's why we call it manual, because over here you literally have to do everything. Like you have to go to Outlook, you have to type in the email, you have to send it. But in ServiceNow things are very different. You predefine the email template, you know when a employee is getting onboarded. So we can make the customized changes, like we have to send an email. So we define a format for it, and every time that whichever employee is getting hired, the name will be replaced by that employee, and everything will be automated. So when in our upcoming sessions, we will deep dive into ServiceNow, and you will see what I mean by that, right? Because few things we can better understand once we get to know the platform. But I assume already that you all know how the automated workflows work, right? You don't have to do anything manually. For example, consider you're ordering food online. Do you exactly have to go to the restaurant in person and tell them that, okay, I want to order this? No, right? Do you have to make them the call? No. Do you have to write them the email? Not at all, right? You just open the app, you select the items you want to order, and that is all. Your order is confirmed with the restaurant. They start preparing it, it gets delivered to you. Now, what is the backend behind it? There is an automated workflow which has been defined, that okay, if this person opens the app, they select few items and they keep on just sending it to one person to another. They keep on moving the process, so you don't have to do anything manually, calling, emailing, texting. It's taken care until it's delivered to you. So same happens it on this time. So right now there is a manual email based request, and then there is no visibility, the approvals are missed, there is no automated workflow. So all of it will be taken care using ServiceNow. I hope, Habib, I'm able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So now you can see that, this is a BA does not start just with the service now. A BA starts with understanding the problem first, and then you leverage the tool at the hand, right? So what we actually did here, we went into the business problem. Now consider I'm your client. I came to you. You all are business analysts, right? You have been assigned on this project where I have to, you know, uh, get my this problem resolved, that okay, there is no currently automated flow, no tracking, no visibility into that laptop assigning process. I'm coming to you with a business problem, and you figure out that okay, there are these three. I'm telling you these are my pain areas. Okay, Rania, if you can go on mute, thank you. Okay, then so I come to you with my business problem. I tell you exactly the pain areas. I can see that there is a productivity loss, there are frustrated employees, my teams are blaming each other. So you know my business problem. Now, first thing you're going to do is understand my current process, ask me the right set of questions. So this will lead to problem solving and root cause analysis. This is how you leverage your very first skill, which is analytical skills, right? So a BA, again, so I will write here to emphasize on this fact that a BA does not start with ServiceNow or any tool which is at hand, because it's not about the tool. It's about a BA starts with understanding the business problem, starts with understanding the problem. So that is very important. That is the key over here that you need to understand. Now let's move to the next one, which is your communication and stakeholder skills, right? So the second skill would be communication and stakeholder management. Now we will assign some roles. Let's say student one, okay, let me, because I need to know. Okay, let's say Rania is from HR team, Habib is from IT team, right? And I'm a business analyst here. Now, I want to ask from the HR team that what info do you need to raise a laptop request, right? Because now I'm focusing on the solution and we have decided that, okay, this is the problem that you're manual, we need to automate it. And in order to automate, we need to understand that, okay, if we have to raise a laptop request, right? If the HR team has to raise a laptop request on the behalf of the employee, because you know exactly who is getting onboarded, then what information do you need to raise a laptop request? So that will be my next question, which is very important for me to understand. And from IT team, right? I will have my question that what are the what details are mandatory for you? What details are mandatory for you? Now, obviously, if I'm as an HR or IT team, I'm working on something, I need to know the details of it, right? What you're gonna need. So these are the typical set of questions that I'm gonna ask you, right? And then I can also ask that who is going to approve the request? You said there is a manager, right? Who is the manager? And how the manager is decided? Who is approving the request? And then my next question would be, what is an acceptable turnaround time, that within what time I have to complete my given task? So now why this? Because it will help you to understand that, okay, this is the time I have to complete my task within, right? Now, I would say, notice that I didn't say how to build anything. I only asked questions. So it is all about your listening, the clarifying, and no assumptions on my own. I'm not assuming that what info you're going to need to raise a laptop request. Like I can say generic, I can suggest you as a BA that, okay, if you need to raise a laptop request, these are the details you're going to need. What is the role of the employee joining, or what are their what how much of level of work do they need to do? Are they heavily into the coding, or are they like some functional role? And for the IT team, they can say that we need to know the details of like how much RAM do you need, how much level of a processor you need, right? And who is approving the request? That's like who is going to be the manager, right? And what is an acceptable turnaround time? Maybe 2 days. Now you see, I haven't even asked how to build anything from the client, but actually, in order to build things, I'm asking all the questions. I'm only asking the questions. So this is how your second skill, which is communication and stakeholder management, comes into the picture. So what information you need to approve a laptop, what SLAs do you commit to? That is basically your turnaround time. And what happens if a laptop is unavailable? So we need to cover the negative test case scenarios as well, right? Laptop is available. If laptop is unavailable, then we need to send a notification to the employee that kindly continue with something in the meantime, and or get in touch with the manager. They will assign you some task, maybe to read it or to go through onboarding checklist, while the laptop is make available for you. So this is how your second skill comes into the picture. So it's all about asking the right set of questions. Then comes the documentation skills, right? Now let's go back here and let's focus on the third skill, which is very important, because we begin with it when I said that, okay, do you think most of the work is about meeting and documentation? You said yes. So documentation skills are very important. So now you told me that, okay, this is my requirement, for a laptop request. Now how would I write? Now consider the business problem that is there at the hand. Let me zoom out a bit. I hope this is visible enough, right? Because I want to show the entire screen with the business problem. Now my third skill is documentation skills. So for documenting few things, you gave me raw requirements and I have to write down convert it into a proper story now. So in ServiceNow and even in IT world, business analyst works on the stories. You convert the raw requirements into the proper user stories. So over here, my user story would be that as a hiring manager, now I'm a hiring manager, right? I want, so this is very important. So what is the format of a typical user story? Then you mention the role. what do you want, what functionality you're looking for. Then you mention the functionality. So let me divide it into three parts, this user story, so it will be better for you to understand, right? And let me insert column to differentiate it as a hiring manager. So now we will say I want to request a laptop for a new employee. Now this is as which role, I want what functionality. Now what will be the outcome so that the employee can start work exactly on the day one, right? Now, who is the user here? Can you tell me from the user story? If you focus on this part over here, let me go specifically here. So can you tell me now who is the user here? If you look at it in this user story. So this user story, you gave me the raw requirement. You gave me the details over here that, okay, who is going to approve it? What is an acceptable turnaround time and all that, what info do you need? So now I'm writing a very basic user story as per my equations that I've gathered, answers I have gathered from you. Now I'm converting that raw requirement into a proper user story. Now from this user story, can you tell me that who is the user? What is the role here?
Manager.
Anybody, if they can answer. Let me see. Yeah, the hiring manager. Thanks, Henry. So the hiring manager is the role here, right? Now let's go back and okay, where is my Excel? Now, so the role, the who is a user? Hiring manager. Now, what is the goal here? The goal is that employee can start work on day one. So we need to have a laptop request for the new employee into the picture. Now, this is about the description of the user story. Now, there is something called as acceptance criteria. So, acceptance criteria is nothing but a set of conditions which should be fulfilled in order to say that, okay, this requirement is complete into itself, right? So my acceptance criteria will go like it. Let's divide it into again three parts, right? So we will say given that employee is approved, because now your onboarding has been approved that this person did well in their onboarding, right? He or she is joining us as permanent employee. So we will say given the employee is approved by the manager when the laptop request is submitted. So the employee, the hiring manager is submitting the laptop request for that person, right? Then IT team, IT receives the request automatically. So there is nobody who is going to email them by typing it or calling them or asking for anything. Now they will by default get it, right? A request automatically, and approval will take place within 24 hours. So let's write it down here. Let me zoom out a bit. Okay. And approval happens within 24 hours. Let's say this is the maximum time we give them. Okay. So now you see that how a raw requirement that has been gathered, the information that I gathered from the set of questions I asked you, what, why, how, who, where, right? I understood the current process. I got to the problem. And then this is one thing. This is requirement gathering when you focus on the high level details, right? Once you get to know that, okay, this is the problem and this is the solution, then you do requirement elicitation. What is that? Identifying the problem by digging deep into it. Now you see over here, we are focusing on the details, info, details, who, and what is an acceptable turnaround time, the time we need. These were the high level ones, like who is going to approve it. Once they approve it, then where does it get stuck? How is the request raised? These are the basic questions that you asked on the high level. So this is requirement gathering. Then you do requirement elicitation, like digging deep into it. And whatever data now I collected, I convert it into a proper user story. in a proper format. So the format for the user story goes like as a, you mention the role, what functionality you need. I want this functionality so that this is the outcome, right? And this is the description is for everybody to understand. But your acceptance criteria in the user story is mainly for the technical team. So you need to be more specific now, just like you got specific during your requirement elicitation. So you tell them this is the scenario given, and when it will happen, then this will happen, and what will be the timeline. So given, when, and then, this is the format. So if I have to focus on the format of a user story, it would be given, when, and then, right? So this is how we leverage our third skill of a BA, which is documentation skill. Now you understand better that, okay, this is how we can write a user story. Now I'm supposing if you remember the format of a user story, tomorrow, if you're given any situation, you can actually put it down into words. And this is like one of the core skill which is required for a BA to work on. And last, we have, so then you write down this requirements in your business requirement document, which is like a raw document. By the end of this session, I will share those templates with you, right? It has certain columns. It tells you that, okay, what is in scope, what is out scope, what is the condition, and then you convert it into a user story. Lastly, we have collaboration skills. So this is the skill number 4. Now, how you're actually collaborating, right? Collaboration skills. So what does collaboration mean? It basically means that how we are interacting with the other people in the team, right? So now who else could be in the team, right? Now for the BRD document, I was telling you, when you will be gathering these details, you will be putting it down into an Excel. And that Excel is known as BRD, which is your business requirement document. Let me first wrap up that, because I want to make sure nothing lets undone, which you feel like that, okay, we didn't get to know the details about this one. So this is about your business requirement document. Now, all these questions, when you were asking, they were giving you inputs, the raw data. Where are you putting it into? You're putting it into the BRD, business requirement document. So now no one reads 100 pages business requirement document. Everybody needs or values the clear ones, which has like the direct exact problems, right? So you simply say the first column could have a problem statement. Second could say what is the objective of the business. Now, what do they want to achieve? They need to increase the productivity, have visibility, have tracking, right? What is in scope, what is out scope, right? In and out. So in scope is that you need to have visibility into the process. Out of the scope is that you're exactly you're going to do it for all of the teams, the legal and finance. That's not into the picture, right? They will automatically understand. Then who all are the stakeholders over here? Like HR team is involved, uh IT team is involved. Those are your stakeholders. Generally, the people for whom you're doing the work. And then what is the high level to be process, right? To be process. So you understood their current process, which we documented over here, just like this, that okay, there is a HR who is going to send email and all that. This is their current process. Now the future process, high level, you have to write it down again in the words, right? So this is what a business requirement document will involve, and you have to be very specific. You don't need to make it like very detailed or 100 different pages mentioning all the inputs, right? Just like these are the fields that are going to be on the form. This is the turnaround time. No, you don't need to mention all that. Business requirement document is all about high level details, and then you get your functional requirement document, which is FRD. So that has to be now in detail. So you are going to need more details into it, right? That is a different thing altogether. Now we were talking about okay, ServiceNow mapping. So once you have done this, right, how would you map all of these details to ServiceNow? Now, why I was not trying to include this case study right into the picture, because right now you are not aware with the ServiceNow platform. So once you have done this, right, you have noted down the requirements, you have written down the story. Now, what you exactly need to do is you need to map it with the ServiceNow solutions. For example, if we need to create a request, laptop request, so in ServiceNow we have something known as service catalog, there is a proper catalog which is given to you. Under it, you can ask for different services. You can ask for password reset. You can ask for this laptop request, right? So, and on that form, you have different fields. For example, you may have a field as employee name. You might have their role or which location they are into, right? And in ServiceNow, we have approval flows as well, designed by default. You just need to mention the condition. And then there is a proper life cycle behind this. For example, once the employee submits this request, the state of the request would be new. Once somebody has been assigned on it, so it will be work in progress. Once somebody has been assigned to approve it and they approve it, that will be the approved state. And after they resolve it within 24 hours, it will be resolved, marked as resolved. So these all things we will map with ServiceNow, right? So that is how the things work. We also have SLAs in ServiceNow. That is basically the turnaround time under which you will define the this duration. So ServiceNow is the tool, but BA skills decide that what goes into that tool, right? That is very important for you to understand. Then lastly, we have collaboration skills. So the daily BA collaboration might look like for the developer, you are talking to your dev people, right? Who is there? So you need to check with them that is this solution feasible? Whatever we are trying to suggest to the client, right? Most of the times, if you're aware with the ServiceNow platform, you know that this is feasible. We can do it, right? This is doable. But still, there are some technical aspects related to the requirements. So you check with your developer, is this feasible, right? And then there is a tester involved, the QA. So you check with them, is this acceptance criteria testable? So AC is the acceptance criteria, whatever is given here. So can they test it? Are they covering the both negative and positive scenarios? Do they need any more details? And then that architect, who is the technical head, right? You check with them that does this are there any integrations involved here? For example, you might need to integrate with the Outlook where you need to automate the email process, right? So that nobody has to go to the Outlook, open it, and then type in the email. So you need to check with the architect for any integration impact or any deep in like complex technical dependencies. And then you check with your client that does this solve your problem? Now we have written this requirement. Now anybody can come into the picture. They will read this user story. They will clearly understand what is happening here. Role is given, functionality is given, outcome is given. What conditions needs to be fulfilled, that is also given. So does this solve your problem? Client can actually read this and we can demonstrate to them. So you check with them, does this solve your problem? Now I would say a BA succeeds when everybody understands the same thing. That is very important. So the success of a BA depends heavily on this factor that everybody is understanding what have like everybody's on the same page. Whatever you have written, now even the client aligns with you, right? The technical people and QA as well. Okay. So it is very important that whatever
I
you
got
write,
different total, 575, 25. So you're exactly like $19.20, like approximately 20. So I'm assuming it's the guy that you forgot your $20 for beer. Yeah. So I'm over. Yeah, you're over $20. So exactly the beer money. You pass it.
So I wish we could do it.
Yeah, I would literally scam every customer that comes in.
Let's see if he comes back tomorrow though.
That's like he wouldn't though.
What time did this happen? He would have came back. He would have came back early.
Sudesh, can you help me with the mute all option again here? I'm not able to see it.
Right.
Okay. I guess no worries. Let me go back to the screen. So I would say this is the golden rule which you need to remember that a BA's success depends heavily on when everybody is on the same page, when everybody understands the same thing, right? So Habib, you asked that, how we can, if I can give you a real-time scenario where how we can leverage the skills we were talking about yesterday. So I hope this helps somehow to get into the shape that, okay, how we can, actually use it. I hope everybody in the session right now, you have a better understanding that if these are the four core skills of a BA, which is story writing, documenting things, communicating, asking the right questions, and then we have these problem solving, right? So I hope everybody is now aligned. When you're given a business problem, the client tells you the pain areas, how you can get to the root cause and come up with a solution. Are we good?
Yes.
Am I audible? Okay, perfect. Now let me go back to the screen. So this is about our today's end-to-end demo related to the last session. So now if I have to give you a high-level overview that okay, end-to-end flow recap. So BA skill analytical, where it was used in understanding the delay problem of the laptop request. Communication skill was used when you had discussions with your stakeholders, right? Asking them the right set of questions. Documentation skills included writing the user stories, acceptance criteria, creating a business requirement document, and collaboration skills came into the picture when you made sure that all of the members in the team, whether it's the client, whether it's the tester, the developer, all were on the same page. They all were understanding the same thing. Yes, Habib.
So, Ms. Kaur, actually, what you are saying, the four steps you just mentioned in the previous slot, the BA
Mm-hmm.
roles with the four different steps. So, you are saying all over the world, all the BAs actually use all the same four steps, handling all the problems in their cases.
So this is a very high level demo, Habib, I would say. There is so much more to the business analyst role. Like you do the workshops, right? And there is you do the service with the client, you do interviews, you ask them questions, and there is so much more, like different kind of requirement gathering and elicitation techniques. There are different approaches which are followed. It is very subjective. It can totally depend on the person. Some people, they don't ask the questions, they don't ask client to fill out the excels, they do the process flows. So it can vary from a BA to BA, what is more comfortable for your client, right? This is a journal scenario because no matter what, if you are a business analyst, you definitely need to go through these four for sure, because you're responsible for getting to the root cause, you're responsible for asking the details, and you're responsible for writing the user stories, and definitely you need to collaborate with your team
Got it.
members.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
Got it.
right. The concept stays the same for everybody. Like these four are the core skills, but yeah, there can be more and less added to it depending on the nature of the environment of your job, or how which kind of client you're dealing with. Yes. Okay. Now, our today's first topic, which is project life cycle, right? So, first we will understand what is a project. So, project is a temporary effort to create something unique. Like you can create a product, you can create a service, or you can produce any result, right? So, to ensure the success of the projects, they follow structured path, which we call as project life cycle. Now, in this cycle, there are some phases which are included: initiation, planning, right? Execution, monitoring and controlling, and then closure. So, what is a project life cycle? It's a journey of a project from an idea to closure. Now, somebody got an idea that okay, in our company we are facing this issue or we are lacking this thing, so we need this thing in place, right? Now that becomes a demand. When everybody reviews it, they say that okay, yeah, we actually need it. So it becomes a demand now on a high level when more than one people agrees on the same thing in the company, that okay, we're going to need it. Now that demand, somebody approves it in the higher management. They say that okay, for example, take example of over this training, right? Suppose Michelle come with the idea that Gurpreet, we are going to need this particular topic to be covered in the training, because I come from this background, and I think in order to become a ServiceNow BA, I need it to be mapped to my past experience. So she came up with the idea, and then we check with the team how many people think that this is going to be helpful for us. Now, large number of audience is aligning, they're voting in favor of it. Now that becomes a demand, right? Then I go through that demand with Sudesh. I tell him that, this is the demand. He reviews it and he evaluates her, sees that, okay, what are the pros and cons of it. Once he approves it, now that will become a project. For example, that is a now total altogether a different training. So we start that training, we start working on that project. Once the project life cycle starts, this is what we will do. So example, you're building a home, right? Now, for the project life cycle, we can say, think of it as how a project is born, executed, and finished. Just like I told you right now by the training example, that somebody got the idea that they need this particular thing to be covered in training, large audience aligns with it, that demand is reviewed by higher management, by Sudesh, he approves it, I work on the project, right? So this is how a project is born, executed, and finished from idea to closure. Okay, now the example is building a house. So when you start, which is the initiation phase, you decide, why do we need the house? That is your first question. What is the budget? What is the location, right? And when you do the planning, right? So you decide the design, the timeline, it has to be completed within, what is the cost behind it, and who will do that, right? There are different architects, there are different people who are there. You choose the best ones, you choose the intermediate ones with the affordable budget rates, right? So you plan it all out. Once you have done those, then you actually execute it. Now, actual construction starts. The walls are being built, the wiring is being put into place, plumbing is being done. Once that is all completed, then you monitor and control sidewise. Is the work on time? Whatever timeline we decided in the plan phase, are we adhering to it? Is the quality okay? Because you decided a budget, right? And so you need to make sure that whatever you're paying, the quality is being delivered to you. Are you facing any issues or risk? Because if you don't evaluate it during the execution phase, the issues and risk, right? You don't monitor it, you don't control the risk, then it is going to be a disaster later on in the picture. So you take care of it into that phase only. And finally, you close it. So there is going to be the final handover. The architect will let you know your house is ready as per your demands, the payments have been done. You will make sure that, okay, your payment has been done, and the project will be officially closed. So this is how a project lifecycle looks like, and these are the typical phases. I would have gone with the technical language that is so boring, right? I wanted to start with the example. If you in the project life cycle, initiation is the first step. First step, I would say, where the project idea is created and its feasibility is assessed, right? And initial project goals, what are the objectives? You identify the stakeholders in IT world, typical, right? Stakeholders are there, the client. So identify which all teams are going to be there. Now, this phase will set the foundation for the project, because it will ensure that this is aligned with the overall business objective before moving forward. So proper planning in this phase will help you to guide the project's direction and success, right? This is about first phase. And in the planning, I would say, if I have to go into the IT world, a detailed project plan is developed, right? It includes the list of tasks that need to be completed, a timeline for each task, how resources will be allocated, right? And what will be the strategies for managing the risk. So this kind of plan will help to keep the project organized and on track, right? And it will ensure that everybody understands their roles and the responsibilities and how to handle any potential issues that might come your way later on, right? Once this is done, in the execution phase, the project plan will be put into action now. The team will work together, right, with each other to complete the task, and you will produce the outcome of the this project. So this is where the real work is going to happen, with everyone collaborating to achieve the common goal, right? And then you will ensure the project stays on the track. There will be regular updates and adjustments made as per the requirement. So once execution is taking place, the monitoring and controlling, right? In this phase, project progress will be carefully monitored to ensure it is following the plan. If there are any deviations or any issues which have been identified, and corrective actions will be taken to address them. So this will help to keep the project on track, and we will ensure that, okay, it is meeting the goals and deadlines. So regular checks and adjustments are made to ensure there is a successful completion of the project. Once we go to the closure, the project deliverables are completed and improved. The project will officially come to an end now. There will be lessons that we have learned throughout the project. Those will be documented so that we can use it in the future projects. And the team and the resources all will be released now, or you might be reassigned on some new project, right? And if there is any final paperwork or admin kind of task, those will also be completed. So this phase will ensure that everything is now closed, finalized, and reviewed for any future project or improvements. So this is all about the project lifecycle. Are we good so far? Any questions in this one? Yes, Habib.
Ms. Kaur, thank you so much. You really, did a great job on giving that example, and that's a huge example about building a house. So when you mention here, decide on a second, like when a BA is going to decide the budget. So is the BA is going to talk to the construction guy, the plumbing guy, the electrician guy, come up with the total cost of the project, and then put it into the project
No.
file and give it to the stakeholder that this is how much it's going to cost them, right?
Right. So generally what happens, Habib, the cost and timelines, these all are decided by the pre-sales people who are in the higher management in the company. We have taken the example of a home. So here the client and the person who is like the customer, right? The customer and the person who has to do the job, they are directly in touch with each other. That's like one example. But in IT world, what happens? If you're working in a startup company, maybe there is no pre-sales team. Maybe you sold the product and now you are doing the requirement gathering. You are planning it, right? Then maybe you are involved into the cost deciding discussions as well. So, but if you're in a bigger company where there are more people, more hierarchies involved, and you have people for every domain, they are taking care of the part. For example, in my company, there are separate bunch of people who are having at least 25 to 30 plus years of experience. They are deciding the product, deciding the cost, the timeline. They're doing the scoping behind it, right? So though they do it, and sometimes we get to know the cost behind a project, that okay, this resource will be given this much number of hours, they will be charged per hour as this. But I'm not the deciding one. So the deciding factor doesn't depend on me. It's with the higher management, right? Unless I'm involved into those discussions. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, thank you, Kaur. Thank you, Ms.
Okay, great. Now that we've understood the project lifecycle, so part of project lifecycle is what we call as software development lifecycle. Now, software could be anything. It could be ServiceNow, it could be Amazon, Google, it could be your Salesforce, right? So now it is only for software projects, and it explains that how the software is built step by step, right? Now you see project lifecycle, it has initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and closure. So let's say, so ServiceNow has this HR module, right? They offer the HR services. Now client wants HR. In the planning phase, you do, okay, you decide the scope that in HR we are going to do this part only. We are focusing on the milestone. These are going to be the resources working on it. Now, where does the SDLC exactly fit if it is a sub part of project lifecycle? It fits into the execution phase. So SDLC happens here, right? And then in the monitoring, you have a sprint, like that's altogether a different concept. There 2 weeks are given to you for completing a small part of the project. That is sprint. You keep the tracking, you evaluate the risk. In closure, there is a go live and sign off at the last, right? Now, SDLC inside the execution would look like where you do the requirements, you capture the story, you convert those requirements into stories, you design, and then people build it, the developers, there is a configuration approach. Then once they build it, they make sure whatever they're building, it is aligning with the configuration of ServiceNow, like what ServiceNow offers out of the box by default. Then there are test. So the testing might include system integration test scripts or user acceptance testing. Why do you need to do the SIT, which is system integration testing? Because there is integration involved in your project. So this is majorly a work of a BA. You write the SIT scripts, right? But sometimes if you have a QA in the picture, they can do that as well. Basically, it involves that at what points the integration is happening, what data is coming, you're validating the data, right? All those kind of things. And UAT, that is user acceptance testing, it is when you get the product ready and client test it. After that, you deploy the that software, whatever you have configured, and it moves to the client's environment, which is production environment, right? So you can see over here in SDLC, there is planning, defining, designing. So in plan phase, you plan things out, then you define those, then you do the design, You build it, you test it, and then you deploy it. It's very much similar to the project life cycle. It's just that it's more in detail, right? So it fits in the execution part of project life cycle. Now there are different models. If you want, let me, okay. So what I can recall for the software development lifecycle, consider it as a structured framework which is being used by the software organizations to design, develop, and test high quality software, right? So it defines the entire process of software production from the initial idea to the final deployment and then maintaining it. So the goal of software development lifecycle over here is to produce high quality software which meets or even exceeds the customer expectations. So it reaches a completion within the decided time and the cost estimates, and it is very efficient to maintain throughout. Now, why this is important? We can say because if there is a no structured SDLC, this software development will become very chaotic, right? Teams can miss the requirement. There will be low in the budgets, right? Or there will be some deliver buggy code which doesn't solve the user's problem, right? And so SDLC provides a visibility. Now stakeholders know exactly what is happening at every stage. You can actually see there. There is a quality control because testing is integrated into the process and not an afterthought that, okay, now the product is ready, let's do it later on. It's not like that. So you're doing the testing sidewise, and there is risk management. So if there are any potential obstacles or bottlenecks which you see, they are identified during the planning phase itself. And then there is cost estimation. That is another benefit of it. So it helps in predicting the timelines and the budgets accurately, right? I have already told you about the different phases. So what happens in the planning and requirement over here, they do the feasibility studies, like how feasible it is technically, operationally, or economically. Then you assign the resources, right? You schedule the project, you do the cost estimation. So the output would be in the planning phase. You get a proper project plan, you get a feasibility report, right? I would say the key people who would be here is there will be senior technical people involved, project managers, and your client as well, right? So in the planning, you define the project scope, you set some goals, and then you do the resource planning. That is all about the planning phase, right? Then once this plan is approved, then you get defining requirements, right? The specific product requirement must be defined and documented. Now, this is done through the documents I told you, BRD, FRD, user stories, right? So, the activities that you gather the detailed functional and non functional requirement from customers, right? Output would be you get the Bible for the development team, the source of truth, right? Your BRD, your FRD, basically your user stories will act as a source of truth for the developers and the testers and the client as well. They all, you're setting the foundation of the project. You, whatever you will write down, that will be built, that will be tested, and that is where the client will agree, right? They have to, you need to make sure they align what you have written. So the key player here would be you as a business analyst, right? And if there is somebody from the client side who is giving you requirement, we call them product owners. Sometimes you work as a product owner. If there is nobody from the client side, you understand and you become a product owner. But mostly there are product owners from client side, right? So in the defining phase, you note down the functional requirement, you note down the technical requirement, and then you review those requirements with the client, and then they get approved. So that is all about the defining phase. Now, when you're designing it, so the requirements now are getting turned into a technical blueprint. You know how we get the uh, map for the house or the blueprint for the house when you're building a house? I gave you example, right? Similarly, now that you have defined the requirements, what the technical people will do, the technical architect along with the developers, they will make a technical blueprint. Now, this phase will define the overall system architecture and the technology stack that they need. For example, a high level design might include it will define the architecture, where the database is designed, where the data will be stored, the users, their location, the which department they belong to, their profiles, and what is the relationship between them. And low level design would just explain that what will define the logic of individual components, or if there is any integration involved, or where the data is getting stored. So Over here, the key players are, as I said, would be the technical architect and the developers. So they will create a high level and low level design, right? They will basically create a technical blueprint. Then comes the building phase, which is nothing but your development or coding thing. So this is the longest phase where the actual building will take place. Now, developers will write the code based on the design document and the requirements you have given. So they will do the coding, the code will be reviewed, they will do the unit testing, which is typically done by a developer only, right? They will do the analysis as well of whatever they're doing. So they can use the typical tools like, the technical tools they will use. So the output would be you will get the proper functional flow, right? The key players here would be the developers, the front end, back end, full stack developers, right? Who work on the front look and feel of the things, the how the user experiences the back end functional part, or there are some full stack developers who work on both areas, right? So they will do the coding and there will be version control and code will be reviewed. That is all about the building phase. Then once the code is written, it moves to the quality assurance team, which is we known as testers, quality analysts, right? So the goal is to find the bugs before the customer does. Why? Because it increases the quality of your product and it gives more, it earns the trust of the client that okay, we have somebody from the, you know from the partner side who is doing testing. So there are many different types of testing. We will have a separate session full fledged on this one. So there is a unit testing which is done by the developers. It tests individual functions. There is integration testing, as I said, SITs, right, which ensures that modules are all the integration of different softwares are working together. Then there is a system testing, right? So that tests the entire application flow from end to end. Then there is a UAT, user acceptance testing, which is done by the client so that they see that, okay, whatever they wanted, that or whatever you have built, it is meeting their business needs. So the output of this phase could be that you might get some bugs or defects, right, from the QA from the client side. There will be test cases created by the QA. There is a quality report. So the key players here would be the testers, mainly the QA people, right? They will do the manual testing or the automated testing. It completely depends what they are using. And lastly comes the deployment. So at this point, the software is released to the end users. Who do we call end users? The people for whom we are doing things. For example, this training is being done for you, all of you. So you are the end users, right? So this training is being released to the end users, right? That is all about the deployment. So in modern environment, this is often taken care like properly by considering all the rest of the factors. So the activities here would be that there will be setting up of the production environment, right? Just like we have our Zoom call. So Zoom is our environment over here. The code will be sent over there, deployed over there, right? And everything will be tested out before doing the deployment. So the output of this would be that the client will get a live application like you're getting the live training, right? Key players here would be if there are platform team, if there is any, right, which is taking care of the deployment process. So it will include release planning, the deployment, maintenance, and then we will get a feedback from the customer. So if we really captured the essence of the project, we exceeded or met the expectations of the client, they might turn around and give you a very good CSAT rating. And sometimes clients write personal appreciation emails for you, which your management sees and they appreciate. I myself have been in the position where I've gotten one-on-one feedback via emails at the end of the project from the client that, we worked with Gurpreet and it was a wonderful experience. She has been throughout. So as a BA, your performance throughout these all the phases matters a lot because you are the one who is the front face of the project. You are setting the tone with the client, so you can build connections. You can earn a good CSAT score not only for the company but for yourself as well. So it's all about your personal development as well. Then once we deploy it, there is one more thing, which is hypercare support. So suppose once, the warranty period, just like that, when we buy something, huge technical equipment, for example, I bought some LED for my home and ask them that, okay, what is the warranty period? They say 2 months or maybe they say 1 year. For those are like, so similarly, once we've given some product to the client, there is a warranty period, which is known as hypercare support or maintenance period. So the cycle doesn't end at deployment. Software has to be maintained to remain useful. The activities there could be involved is that if client is facing some issue, we fix it, right? If there are any upgrades, we help them. We also, if they want any new enhancements, we can add those features in that defined or decided hypercare period, right? The outputs would be that there will be some new versions, new updates, and over here the people who are mainly involved is support engineer people who are in the technical team or the developers, right? So this is all about the software development lifecycle. I hope it was very clear that okay, what happens in each phase, which people are involved, and what are the outputs and activities that we do. Uh, are we good? Should I move ahead? Any questions on this one?
Good.
Okay. So next we have is SDLC models, right? Now there are different kind of models. There is waterfall model, which is the first one. There's iterative SDLC model, V model, spiral, incremental, DevOps, rapid application, which is RAD. Then we have agile, right? Now, I don't want to confuse you with all of these models by getting into details of each of it, unless you want me to cover that as well, right? Then I can cover properly. But let me tell you, 90% of the IT world, they are sticking to agile or waterfall, or maybe a combination of both, which is known as hybrid model, right? So I don't want to waste your time because trust me, none of these are going to be used ever unless in a very specific position. So I want to focus more on what is being used widely or most of the times. 90% is a huge number. So if I have to compare waterfall and agile, I won't go again with the typical technical language. I will again refer to the example of some real life example. So waterfall model is like building a house, right? So you design, then you build the house, you test it, and then you move it. So the customer sees the house only at the end. Now, this is not good. Why? Because suppose you wanted your washroom to be a little bigger, the tiles to be of a specific color, right? And maybe you wanted the rooms next to each other for your kids or something like that. Now, these are the changes which came, you got to see the house only at the end, which is not a very good approach. Now, imagine how much of free work and how much expensive it would be, like it will cost you the time, effort, and money to redo all of the things. And in 90% of the cases people will say now let it be, we're going to stick with this. But what is the customer satisfaction here? That is not good, right? Because what happened, the architect was not checking with you regularly, taking your feedback, or letting you visit to the site to see that okay, how we're building house. He told you trust me, everything is going to be perfect, as per your requirements. But how can you know, right? This is something very important. Building a house is a very special moment for people, right? They're actually imagining rest of their lives into it. So the waterfall model is just like that. All the steps are similar to the project life cycle and to the agile as well. These are like two different methodologies using which we fulfill the projects, right? So like you do everything the same way, but the client comes into the picture only at the end, so that cost a lot of time, effort, and money if the things are not as expected, right? So this is about the waterfall model, as it says. And then agile is something like you open a restaurant. You start with a very basic menu, right? And then you keep on improving the dishes weekly based on the customer feedback. So that is a continuous improvement now. Similarly, in IT projects, so you remember I was talking about sprint in one of the previous slides. So sprint is a 2 weeks of duration in which you do the development, then you do the testing as well. Then you show to the client that okay, this is what we have built. So you start with the basic menu, right? You start with the basic functionalities, and then you give the demo to the client in the second week. You show them this is what we have built. Now at that point, it is very easy for your team to make the changes whatever client is asking. If they are satisfied, well and good. If they are not, they can give you their feedback. You can make the changes. Now it is not like you have a design build the entire project and now client is saying okay, I didn't want it this way, now fix it, now fixing it has a lot of dependencies, lot of risk, right? Lot of time and cost will be given there. So that is waterfall, but agile is different. Agile is about having a continuous customer feedback. So I hope you are able to understand the difference between both using this example. Now I will deep dive into agile. Why? Because that is the one which is being widely used. So agile is a philosophy and set of principles, and it is not a single process, right? It is a set of multiple principles. It is defined by Agile Manifesto. Now, what is Agile Manifesto? It focuses on there are four core values related to it. So it focuses on the individuals and the interactions over the processes and tools. Just like when you're building a home, so the architect will focus on you and the feedback you're giving to them over a defined, stubborn attitude that, okay, no, I'm going to build it like once at all. So then next is working software over documentation. So whatever he had in their mind, he won't focus on that. He will focus on what is currently the demand, the working software, right? In ServiceNow, for example, you show to the client, this is how things are in ServiceNow, this is what we have built. If they align, well and good. And customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So maybe things are defined into the contract, but the customer is the key here. So you need to collaborate with them, right? And responding to change over following a plan. So basically, anything which was like, you don't need to do the typical, I would say, blindly follow the plan. You need to focus on the people, not the processes, right? And you need to focus on the feedback with the client. So Agile tells you how to think about delivering the value, right? Now, Agile Manifesto is a part of it. So first, I will focus on the agile methodology. So, agile methodology is a way to manage the projects, just like I was saying, by breaking them into smaller parts, which is called as sprints, right? It focuses on working together and making constant improvements. Working together, that you take clients' feedback time to time, and then if they tell you anything, you make the constant improvements. So teams plan, they work on the project, and then you review how things are going in a repeating cycle. So once you complete a sprint of 2 weeks, suppose you have to build a house, you did the basic bridge, they were laying the bridges, they were building the basic framework. So that was done in the first 2 weeks. In the next 2 weeks, they started doing the flooring, and in the next 2 weeks, they started doing the ceiling. But they were taking your feedback constantly, right? In the next 2 weeks, they did the paint, they do the plumbing and wiring, so on. So they are doing the work in a iterative and incremental way. There are short fixed cycles. They are committing to you that, okay, within this time we will do this part of the house. So instead of building everything at once, we are building small usable parts and taking the feedback from the client, and we're improving continuously, right? So this is what agile methodology is all about. As I said, there is a agile manifesto, and there are 12 principles of it related to it, right? So now if I have to tell you what is agile manifesto, in brief, I will simply say it is a set of foundational principles for agile software development, the agile methodology, which we have just read about, which emphasizes on the flexibility and collaboration and customer satisfaction. So these three are the keys in agile: flexibility, collaboration, and customer satisfaction. The four core values I've already told you, right? So the first one was individuals interaction over on the individuals and interactions over processes and tools. It means you focus on the importance of effective communication and collaborating among your team members, right? Then second one was working software over documentation. That means you prioritize the delivery of a functional feature which you're giving to client, functional software. That should be your primary measure of progress. Then customer collaboration over contract negotiation. That means you encourage the customers, right, and your team to have active involvement throughout the development process. Last, responding to change over following a plan. That means if the on changing of the requirements, you are embracing the flexibility. That is the beauty of the agile, and you have this ability to adapt even late in the development process, right? So this is very important to understand. That is what Agile Manifesto is all about. These are the four core values. It includes 12 principles. Now, first one is customer satisfaction. It is very self explanatory. It concentrates on the importance of the customer satisfaction. by providing the information to customers early, right? If I wouldn't have given you the roadmap in the very beginning, how would you have decided that, okay, I want to go for another 2 sessions or another 3 sessions of this, training, or maybe I want to sign up for this training? So there is customer satisfaction, which is very important, right? And then there are changing requirements even late in the development period. Why? Because agile processes tackle the change for the customer's competitive advantage, right? So even late in the development, changes in requirements are welcomed, but after proper analysis, for sure, it shouldn't affect your project like on a very high level, right? So the changes are welcome to ensure that, okay, whatever software you're delivering, it is meeting the client's evolving requirements, right? Then so you're delivering the working software frequently. That means this principle, agile principle, is encouraging the regular release of the functionality you're building for the client in short iterations. Like every 2 weeks, you build something, you show it to client, you take the feedback. So that means you're adapting to the changing requirements, and it helps in frequent delivery, right? So earlier the client will be shown, they will give you feedback, earlier the project will be able to get delivered, you will be able to deliver it. Then comes collaboration between the business and uh, developers, right? Business is basically your client. So you communicate regularly, which says that business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. There should be communication and collaboration between them, right? Which is very important for understanding and prioritizing the requirements, right? Then we have face-to-face communication. So this is the most effective, I would say, method of discussion and conveying information. Now, most of the IT world is virtual nowadays, unless you have been asked to be on site. I had this one on site project. I have been sent to Singapore. Trust me, face to face is way better because you're right there with the client. You're able to connect better, right? That's what the human interactions are all about. So this principle depicts the importance of direct interaction, which helps to minimize the misunderstandings, because otherwise if you're doing virtual meetings you can't get hold of the people for a long time. It's but when you are in person, all the people are sitting in one room, things are like faster and more efficient, so effective communication is achieved here. Then you build the project around motivated individuals, right? So that helps in promoting promote this promotes in giving the developers the environment and the support they need, right? And trust them to complete the job successfully. That is very important. So then we have working software is a primary measure of the success, right? Working software, which is good design. So this principle emphasizes on delivering a proper functional and working software, which should be the primary deciding factor for the project advancement. Now, this will encourage the teams to prioritize continuous delivery of any valuable functionalities which you're building, right? Then we have over here that, what is this? Maintain. Okay, so it's about maintaining a suitable pace of work. So you need to maintain a proper agile promotes a sustainable development basically. So all the people involved, which is the sponsors who are sponsoring the project, the developers, the users, they all should be able to maintain a constant pace together. And this depicts the need that, okay, they need to have a consistent development pace, right? It will help in avoiding the burnout or any ensure the long term project success is there. Then we have continuous attention to technical excellence and good design over here, right? So this principle is on the importance of maintaining high standards and technical design. So what it will do, it will ensure there is a long-term ability in maintaining the software. Then we have simplicity, which is the art of maximizing the amount of work which has not been done, right? So any in anything, even in this training, when I give you a real life example, you're able to relate better, you're able to understand better. So that is the beauty of simplicity. It is very essential. The objective here is to concentrate on the most valuable features and tasks to avoid any unnecessary complexity, right? Then you have self-organizing the teams, right? So if you self-organizing teams provides the best kind of requirements design and architecture. This will just simply help to empower the team to make decision, right, and to organize them to proper creativity. Then we have reflect and adjust regularly. So we have to, this makes the team reflect on how to become effective together as a team, right? So you keep on having your sprint retrospective calls at the end of each sprint where you discuss that, okay, what went better, what went good, what was bad, what could be better, all those kind of things. So continuous improvement is very crucial so that you can adapt to the changing circumstances and optimize the team performance over the time. Are we good with the 12 principles of Agile? Like the names are quite self-explanatory, but I wanted to give a brief of like 1 to 2 liners for each of them. So I hope you understand it's all about the customer satisfaction, right? Being flexible and taking continuous feedback from the client and having a harmony in the team that, okay, we all are working together and we need to make it more efficient. So this is the core purpose behind having the agile methodology into the picture, and that's why 90% of the IT companies are using it, and rest 10% are again using it as with the combination in the waterfall, the hybrid waterfall and agile. Are we good to move ahead now? Okay. So the last topic of the day is Scrum framework. Now, this is very important because just like, SDLC, the software development lifecycle, is a sub part of the project lifecycle. Similarly, Scrum framework is a sub part of agile methodology, right? So it is a specific agile framework which is used to implement agile in practice. Now we have agile, we understand the high level picture, what agile is about. Now Scrum tells you how to work on a day to day basis. Agile tells you what we need to focus on, how we will be going. Agile tells you need to have a sprint, but what you need to do in that sprint of 2 weeks, that is about Scrum. So it defines the roles. The roles involved are product owner, right? Then we have Scrum Master, right? Scrum Master is nobody but who manages the project, takes the requirements and all that. Then development team is there, right? QA team is also there. Then we have events, just like sprint planning. So now once you have started a project, you're planning it out. Okay, who are going to be the resources? Now you won't be doing it definitely. That is on the management and the project manager. And BA is also part of it because you're telling them that okay, this is the requirements we have. These are the stories or sprints we are going to need. For example, a bigger project is there in the picture. You divide it into smaller 10 parts, like 2 weeks for each. So there is a sprint planning behind it. You decide the resources, sprint planning call you have, then you have daily stand up call where you connect for quick 5 to 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes with the team. You ask everybody which task they are doing, what they're up to, where is the progress, all that. Then you have sprint review, which is whatever you have built in 2 weeks, you show it to client, you take the feedback, and then you have retrospective call, which is basically a call within the internal team members, right? With the developers, the QAs, the BA, the PM. So you decide that, okay, what went really well, what didn't go well, and what could be better, right? That is all about the retrospective. It is just to improve the alignment between the team members, internal team members, and have more efficient work culture. Then there are certain artifacts. Artifacts are nothing but the kind of documents you work on. So there is a product backlog. For example, in ServiceNow, we are focusing on the IT part. So there will be IT backlog. Backlog is nothing but a collection of all the requirements that you need. For example, if you're building a house, you need ceiling, flooring, walls, plumbing, wiring, electricity. You capture all of the requirements, but at a time you can work only on one. So backlog is a collection of all the future requirements that are you going to work on. Then sprint backlog is something that okay, you have prioritized a chunk out of this product backlog. That is your sprint backlog. Now, this time we are only going to focus on the maybe the plumbing part of the house. That is your sprint backlog. In this sprint, you're only covering that. And then there is incremental process, right? Then, as I said, time box sprints. So usually the sprints are of 2 weeks. It completely depends on you. Sometimes the sprints get stretched to the 3 weeks due to holidays or due to somebody not being available in your team. So, but usually the 2 weeks is the ideal timeline. That is all about the Scrum methodology. And if I want to focus on something in the detail, so Scrum is a very lightweighted framework, I would say. It emphasizes on self-organization, right? It's very simple to understand. It helps the team to work together. And if I have to give you the life cycle of Scrum, I would say suppose there is a sprint of 2 weeks, right? In 1 month, there are two sprints now. So now there is a certain release. You will have a sprint review call, as I said, right? Sprint retrospective will be there in the backlog. From the backlog, you will assign some stories to the developer. There will be a sprint planning meeting, product backlog, where you prioritize few things, and then it will become a that your sprint, yeah. So sprint is a time box of 1 month or less, right? A new sprint starts immediately after the completion of the previous one. Release is something when the product is completed, it goes to the release stage. That okay, these features are now done, the wiring of the house is done, we can release this sprint, right? Then, or we can say the wiring, plumbing, and the construction altogether, these three are done. So the basics of the house are all covered. Now we can release the product. The next would be interior designing. That will be a different release, right? More like that. Then we have sprint review. As I said, if the product still has some features, it will be checked in this stage and passed to the next sprint. Retrospective, you connect with your team. Backlog, sprint backlog is divided into two parts, right? So there is something which is upcoming and there is something which is currently in the progress. Now, what are the advantages of having Scrum framework? Because it comes under Agile, so it gives you a fast moving process, and it is money efficient, right? You're getting continuous feedback. You're dividing the large product into smaller parts. It's like a divide and conquer strategy. And in Scrum, customer satisfaction is very important. That is like the core over here. So it is adaptive in nature because there are short sprints, so you can adapt to the changes quickly. And it relies on constant feedback. So that's why the quality of the product increases, but in a very less amount of time, right? So, in conclusion, Scrum is like overall about improving the self organization, improving and having the capabilities. It improves the productivity and customer satisfaction, right? So, I hope we all are good so far, whatever we have gone through. Any questions so far for me?
I have a question.
Yes, Rania.
Are we gonna get a recording for this session?
Yes, I think the recording will be shared with you.
Okay, will it be shared like today or tomorrow or when exactly?
Let me check with Sudesh
It'll be
regarding this
shared
one.
tomorrow.
Yes,
It'll be shared
tomorrow, yeah.
tomorrow.
What is it?
Yeah, we'll be sharing it tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And one last question. What is the next step after this? Because I know this is our last session.
yeah. So now, where are you in US or Canada?
Yes.
In US? Okay.
Yes.
Well, now our team will reach out to you, but tomorrow and day after tomorrow. We are working this weekend because we want folks to register. Now, if you're all
Uh-huh.
set, if you have any questions, you can get on a call with me and we will reach out to you and you can schedule a call with me, get to
Okay.
understand a few more things, how to transition, because it's very important for you to understand how to go 0 to 100 from which city you are in and based on your skill set. And there are so many things I need to discuss with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can discuss those things and make your first installment and payment and sign up. All
Okay.
right. So those are
All
the
right
next
then.
things, reaching out to you and having those conversations. All right. So,
Okay.
Gurpreet, wonderful, wonderful training. I really loved it. And
Thank
and
you.
it was interesting how Shafi asked me a question in the chat. Is it a busy? Gurpreet, give me yours. Give me
Yeah,
your. I
exactly.
really
I was
wanted to
about to.
answer this question. I loved
Right.
it.
I just read the text and I was about to reply on that. So,
Mm,
you will love the
mm,
BA role. When I came
yeah,
into it, initially, I didn't have any guidance, there was no mentorship, nothing. And I learned
yeah,
from my experiences over the time. I got a really good mentor who paced up my career. Once I got into the picture, I loved it because it not only gave me a lot of holistic picture of how a project is all about, and it also gave me the front facing role. So there are people, among us who love to be the front face, like who love to interact with people. That is, I would say, one of the skill I enjoy. You get to know the people on a personal level, especially your client. So that is one perk of it. Another is the exposure you get, the on-site opportunities you get to travel. I've been to like Singapore recently, I told you. So the experience was really nice. You get to explore cultures, different kind of people. And then, as Sudesh said, the best part about being a BA is that you're only heavily occupied in the initial phases of the project. So, and yet throughout the project, for example, if a project lasts for 6 months, you're heavily occupied maybe in the first 1 to 1.5 months, or maybe two at max, right? The defined phase. Once you do that, the reliability is still on you. People are heavily dependent on you because you have set the foundation. But now you're free. You can actually leverage that time into something else. You're still getting the billable hours from the client, but now you can focus on other things. So while the development team is at rest when you are in the defined phase, now you will be at rest when they are building the things. And the best part about BA is because developers have to focus a lot of their time on a single project. You as a BA in a year can do 5 to 6 different versatile projects because your role is for the 2 months. So the versatility in your career, the opportunities you get, they keep on broadening over the time. So BA is
Yeah.
like a very good career to proceed with. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing, Gurpreet. Just to add up to that, I know we're exceeding time, but I just want to share my 2 cents. Guys, I tell you, BA as a role, like, Gurpreet said, we engage, we are the managers and we are accountable to make sure all the requirements are captured to make sure we satisfy what the client wants. We're going to build something, right? A new feature, but we want to make sure we capture everything what the client wants from the logic point of view so that we transfer those information to the developers and they build it physically. It's a very beautiful process. Is it a busy job? Not all the time. It depends on the task. It's a very good question because when you're in non-IT, you go into a management job, you go in 9 to 5, you do the same thing over and over again every day, and you know what you're doing, and you come out, and your productivity is tracked, right? But when you become an analyst, there are days you're busy, there are days there is no work at all. It's just the nature of the job. Once the requirements are getting signed off, then we are only helping them. We are a subject matter expert, we're supporting them, making sure that the sprints are going fine, developers are understanding what they're doing, testers are understanding what to test. So we are more of a support subject matter expert, knowing more about the product because we're learning, being in the project right from the beginning, inception. Going more into deep into it, Gurpreet is explaining beautifully. Yes, when work is, it's when it's not there, it's not there. It's all totally depends on the task. I've been in a stretch 15 days with no work at all, and then 15 days there's a lot of work. It's just the way it works. Talking about RTM, where does RTM fit into SDLC? What is RTM? Requirements Traceability Matrix. We need to understand that part. See, as a BA, you need to track all the requirements which you're documenting. Why do we track? That's because in interview, there's a question. What if the client says, this is not what I asked for? What are you going to say? Right? Who's asking? Henry. Hi, Henry. How are you?
Hi, Sudesh. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Henry. Happy to have you here. Henry, can I ask you a small question?
Sure.
Okay. Because the RTM thing came up, I want to ask you, what if the client asks you, this is not what I asked for? What are you going to do? They're going to ask you in the interview, what are you going to do? You don't want to
Well,
be in that situation, correct?
yeah, I was thinking all of that will be captured in the BRD, Business Requirement Document.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Wherever we capture, the purpose of RTM is to track all the requirements are documented, validated, developed, tested, UAT tested, and then we want to make sure it's released. The idea is to how are we tracking those requirements is RTM. You may use RTM, you may not use Agile, depends on the culture of the organization, but you have to understand from the concept point of view why you have to use RTM. Got it? Great. Moving on to the next question. Shafi has got some amazing questions. Shafi, all of your questions are good. I like the way you're asking it. There is a difference between a BA and a PM. Remember, I told you BA is responsible for requirements. Make It's like an assistant PM, by the way. They are the right hand of the PM. Okay, these are the BAs are the guys who are working very closely with the solution architects. They're working closely with the product owners. They're working closely with the clients. They're working closely with the implementation specialists. We are the star of the project, guys. I'm telling you, we are the star of the project. We are all over. People look up to us. So our role is to make sure that we collect the requirements 100% without losing anything so that we don't lose any requirement. That's our role. PM is a people manager. Okay. They have accountability toward making sure this project which is started has to end efficiently within the budget without exceeding the timeline. They manage people, they manage their whole roadmap, the hygiene. Okay, it's a people role, and many BAs eventually in their career, if you're interested in this PM roles, you can. Okay, a lot of my friends started as a ServiceNow consultant, has become a PMs in ServiceNow. It's a very rewarding career. Okay, all right, thank you. What's the next question? Hopefully Gurpreet will do a good. Oh yeah, Gurpreet will kill it. She knows what she's talking about. So I think Gurpreet is also chatting there. Um, Soumya, this week you need to sign up. So we will be reaching out to you. We will be sending invoices to you. Yeah, you will be discussing those things with our payroll team, with our ops team, and they will get you to enroll you. Okay, don't worry about it. We'll reach out to you. Okay. My team members will reach out to Shafi, either Tia or Josh, one of us. They'll schedule a call. They'll reach out to you, and you can give your payment plans. We offer 3 installments, payment plans. But I will request you to please have a one-on-one call with me. I would like to talk to you. I'd like to get to know the people who are joining it because I'm going to be supporting you guys and guiding you guys till you get into the job. Okay. And from the training support, we have Gurpreet. Okay, she is stunning. She really knows what she's talking. She's got tremendous experience, and I really like pick up a lot of things from her. And we are teaching you what is happening in the industry today. That's very, very important with ServiceNow. Do not take this career for granted. Do not be careless about it. Go all into it. You could retire into this career. This career is good for next 10, 15 years. It's in AI, it's in cloud. You may or you may not know, I'm the only ServiceNow training provider in the business analyst. And as a business process consultant, I'm the only provider. People from UK, US, India, they come in and train from us. Okay, so we know what we're doing. We have much experience in it and industry connections in it. So you may or may not know, you are putting yourself into a very hot career, which is in high demand and low in supply, which means your average time to get into a job is considerably less. Most of the jobs take 5 to 6 months, but I've seen ServiceNow guys get jobs within 3 to 4 months in a hot market. Okay, so that's
Right.
good. Questions
I
for
think,
us?
yeah.
Yes, Gurpreet. Want to say
Yes.
something?
There is one last thing that I would like to highlight because you were explaining that the criticality of this role, how it is going to be a hot upcoming career sport, right? So the best part about BA role is that it is not only about the technical skills. So we all know that how AI is replacing jobs, but BA is the only role which can't be replaced by AI because over here in this role, you don't only need to be technically sound, you need to communicate with people, you need to have people handling skills. So no matter how much AI goes advanced, it can never talk to your customer, understand which mood they are in, how they want to give you the requirement, what they're exactly referring to. So those raw conversations, those can only be done if you are actually so basically your role is like not AI dependent. It can't be replaced by that. That's the best part about it. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
That's
I have
right.
a question.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Um, are there opportunities to become a business analyst and work remotely?
Yeah, remote jobs are there, hybrid jobs are there. It all depends on the client, Rania. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, but if you have a particular situation and you're saying that Sudesh, I cannot take a hybrid or full time, I got to work, sorry, on site, I got to be remote, it's okay. So we will help you according to that. Do the
Okay.
marketing. We will get those jobs. But I can tell you there are good 70% of the jobs are hybrid, 30% are remote. After COVID, times have changed. Employers want their client. The idea of BA is to have the boots on the ground, Rania. Okay, this
Yeah.
is what you have to understand. Why is that I'm not able to get much ServiceNow developers? because they don't have to be on the boots on the ground. They don't have to be in US, Canada. These guys are in Vietnam. These guys are in Singapore. These guys are in India, developers. But then business analysts are always hired from that particular country. Why? Because they want to be with the client. They want to see, because we are talking to the clients day in and day out. It's boots on the ground, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
And I also want to tell you, Rania, I understand your concern. We will definitely talk about it. But I want to
Okay.
tell you, your career, please be very, very aggressive in getting into it. Sacrifices
Okay.
have to be made to get great careers, guys. It's a great career. It's all going to work out well, but sacrifices have to be made. Okay. When I say sacrifices, I mean you may have to go to work 3 days a week, 4 days a week, or something like that. But when you start going, becoming a senior consultant, with your relationship, with your leadership, you can totally have a work from home. It is coming, but it'll come later on. But when you start hustling in the beginning, it's important to understand you need to take as it goes. Got it,
Yeah.
guys? Preet, Rania, Amandeep, Brittany, Diana, Emmanuel, Habib, Henry, Jennifer, Junaid, Karthik, Imad, Mac, Parimala, Ruth, Shafi, Sid, Soumya. How are you guys doing so far? Good?
Okay.
All good?
All
All
good.
right. Okay,
Yep.
guys.
All
So we will
good.
and we'll sign you up. Don't worry. And Habib, great questions, great engagement from everybody. I really loved your questions. So Monday, for all the people who are signed up, registered, you will get the link. So you must take a decision this weekend for us to give you, to onboard you. Okay. So
And
with
that's
that,
gonna
sorry, go ahead.
yes, Satish, sorry. That's gonna be like 3 month sessions, right?
Say
If I'm
12
not
weeks, 3 months for you to study anyway, Soumya. After the training, you're getting ready for the certification, you're preparing for the interview questions. Yeah, 3 months it takes.
sure.
But you know what? Can I tell you good news? I
Yeah,
have people going into ServiceNow job every month, even in the month of November, even in the month of December. Market is waiting for guys who are having the support and implementation skills. There's a huge shortage of staffing when it comes to business analysts. And I do want to tell you something. In the business analyst world, we often call them business process consultants, business process associates. There is so much more I want to coach you and mentor you. I will do that as you come to get more and learn more from Gurpreet. Gurpreet is going to give a lot of download of information. Take it slowly. It's a new skill. Don't rush yourself. Don't worry about job. Jobs are not going anywhere. We just want to soak in and get the information. Some of you will learn fast. Some of you will be slow. It's okay. Jobs are there for everybody. Okay. Never come to a mindset and think that there are no jobs. It is saturated. There is, whatnot. There is fear mongering everywhere. Whatever you're
Oh,
thinking right now is wrong. Okay.
I
There is
actually
jobs for everyone.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. That just reminded me. Okay. So I don't know if you remember when I first started the first session here, I mentioned how I took analytics classes years ago, but
Mhm.
the company that I was with, they never helped me as far as like them
Sorry,
talking
what?
to me, doing mock
Mhm.
interviews, all that kind of stuff. No one helped me. So
Mhm.
what I did was I took the liberty to go on
Yeah.
LinkedIn to find
Yeah.
entry level business analysts. And a
Right.
lot of the positions that I found, they
Yeah.
still required experience.
Yeah, 0 to 5 years of experience you need to provide, and that's where I come in. I will go through your resume, we'll provide you transferable experience based on your past experience, and I'll show you a plan and how to architect. That's all done by us. Don't worry
Okay.
about it. It's not your problem to
Okay.
worry about. It's my
Okay.
problem. Okay. I only want you to study organically. Will you do that for me, Rania?
Yeah.
You do the study part, you get the CSA certified, you get ready. If you can pass Gurpreet's mock interview by 50%, guarantee you that you get yourself in a job. Okay?
Okay.
So don't worry about job. And my business is running out of organically. We help people. A good business means good results, right? And I
Okay.
believe that. And
Yeah.
you get a job and you refer me in your community, and that's all I'm asking for. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
No
So is that
problem.
a deal, Rania? Is that a
Yeah,
deal?
that's a deal.
All right. Okay. All
Yes.
right. I have full confidence on it, and so let's go all in. I don't want to hold you
Okay.
guys. Y'all have a great evening. Have a
You
great
too.
weekend, and see you guys on Monday. All right. Thank you,
Okay. See
Gurpreet.
you.
Have a good night,
All right.
guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good.